All right, let's jump right in. When you're packing for a trip, what's the first thing you think of? Passport, phone, maybe some comfy shoes. But what if I told you that the most powerful tool you could possibly bring isn't something you can pack at all?
No, really, think about it for a second. We're talking beyond the clothes, beyond the currency. What's the one thing that can absolutely transform your experience, open doors you didn't even know were there, and help you see the world in a completely new light? And nope, it's not some new app or fancy gadget.
It's your vocabulary, the words you carry with you. And look, this is about so much more than just knowing how to order a coffee. The words you know literally shape how you see the world, how you connect with other people, and how you make sense of everything around you. A great vocabulary, well, it's your ultimate travel accessory.
So, first up, let's talk about the mindset you bring with you. Because being a great traveler isn't just about where you go, it's about how you show up. And guess what? There's a perfect word to describe this state of mind.
Cosmopolitan. Now, this doesn't just mean you have a passport full of stamps. Being cosmopolitan is a feeling. It's that sense of being at ease, of feeling like you can belong anywhere in the world. It's all about being open, curious, and totally comfortable with the unfamiliar. And this idea of being a world citizen really takes it to the next level. It means the conversations you have, the connections you make, and the things you experience, they aren't limited by borders. You're actually taking part in a truly global conversation.
Of course, that global conversation isn't always spoken, which brings us to our next big idea, the art of reading all those nonverbal signs that are happening all around you.
So, let me ask you this. If you give a thumbs up in another country, you're saying great job, right? Well, maybe not. In some places, like parts of Southern Europe, that exact same gesture is a huge insult. And that's where our next word comes in.
An emblem. So, according to the researcher Paul Ekman, an emblem is a special kind of gesture that's a direct substitute for a word. Like nodding your head for yes, shaking it for no, or putting a finger to your lips for be quiet. They're like a physical shorthand.
And here is the absolute key takeaway. Emblems are cultural. They are not universal. The gestures you do every day without even thinking about it might mean something totally different or even offensive somewhere else. A savvy traveler knows when to talk with their hands and when it's better to just keep them still.
Now this brings up a really cool distinction. An emblem, like we said, can completely replace a word. But an illustrator is a gesture that only happens while you're talking. It adds emphasis, like when you use your hands to show just how big something was. You could say illustrators decorate our words, while emblems are the words.
Okay, so we've got the mindset down, and we've covered nonverbal cues. Now, let's get into one of the absolute best ways to understand a new place, through its stories. We're going to look at the little tales people tell and see what they can teach us. An anecdote. These short, interesting little stories are one of the best windows you can get into a culture, a historical figure, or even just the person you're sitting next to in a cafe. They are packed with meaning, and, as we're about to see, they're packed with some great vocabulary too.
And to really see this in action, we're going to do a little time traveling. We're going to look at some anecdotes from the life of a pretty complex guy, Napoleon Bonaparte. These little stories are the perfect example of how just a few sentences can reveal so much about human nature and teach us some really powerful words along the way. So, picture this. This quote comes from right after the absolutely horrific Battle of Borodino. Napoleon was riding across the battlefield, seeing just thousands of dead and wounded Russians. An aide points to one and says something like, "He's only a Russian." And Napoleon's response, well, it shows this surprising depth. His words are the perfect illustration of our next term, compassion. In that moment, he wasn't a general looking at an enemy. He was just a human being seeing the suffering of another human being and recognizing that they shared something fundamental. All right, now for a much wittier anecdote to explain our next word, misfortune. Someone supposedly asked Napoleon's nephew the difference between an accident and a misfortune, and he replied, "If your cousin fell into a well, that's an accident. If someone pulled him out, that would be a misfortune." It's a little dark, sure, but hey, it definitely gets the point across. Okay, here's another really fascinating story. When Napoleon came back to power, his rival, King Louis XVIII, had to flee in a hurry, and he left a ton of money with a banker. Now, instead of just taking it, Napoleon had all that money sent to the exiled king. It was this incredible act of honor toward his enemy. And get this, years later, when the tables were turned again, the king reciprocated. He did the exact same thing for Napoleon. He returned the gesture. To reciprocate is to give back in kind. And that's a powerful idea, whether you're a king or you're just buying the next round of drinks.
So you see, whether you're digging into ancient history or just trying to navigate a modern city, these words give you a much deeper understanding. Let's pull this all together now into a final toolkit for staying savvy on your travels.
Now, having this deeper understanding also helps you stay aware. Look, being a savvy traveler isn't about being suspicious of everyone, but it is about being observant. And that includes being able to recognize the possibility of deceit, when someone might be trying to mislead you.
According to Paul Ekman's research again, there are these subtle clues. For example, if someone's illustrator hand gestures suddenly decrease, it could mean they're not so sure about the story they're telling. Or if their blinking increases, it might mean they're carefully weighing every single word. Now, these aren't lie detectors, of course, but they are things a truly cosmopolitan traveler might pick up on.
And there you have it, your new vocabulary toolkit. From having that cosmopolitan mindset, to understanding emblems and anecdotes, to recognizing compassion and even deceit. These aren't just definitions. They are lenses you can use to see the world more clearly.
Because at the end of the day, these words aren't just for learning, they're for living. They are tools that help you connect, understand, and navigate this amazing, complicated world of ours. So as you start planning your next trip, there's really only one question left. Which of these new words are you going to pack first?